Hi, everybody. How are you today? Oh, the light is a little bit dark on this side or something. Should I change this side like this? Right, it's fine. Okay. How are you? Again, if you been watching me a long time enough, you see this is back to a background of my parents' house. This is my childhood bed, to my room. So, hi, everybody. How are you? Again, I just woke up, so that is why my voice is still low and still a little bit sleepy. It is exactly 10:01 p.m. on my phone. Yep, it is 9:01 a.m. in Vietnam right now. Morning, afternoon, whatever time it is in Vietnam. Yep, it is the morning time, 9 a.m. Oh, Ethan, Kentucky, CPUSA. Hi there. How is CPUSA in Kentucky? Is it active or is it new or anything? I want to know more about that. I'm sorry, but all I know about Kentucky is, I'm sorry, it's Kentucky Fried Chicken, which is not even originally from Kentucky. Kentucky. All right.
It don't mean buck if it ain't got that tuck.
Yes, exactly. Kentucky. It's not even KFC. It's not even originally from Kentucky, right?
No, I don't think so.
I don't think so. Can somebody correct me if I'm wrong?
But Colonel Sanders was a Kentucky colonel, which is like a secret society kind of thing.
Okay.
It's like the redneck Freemasons. Although there are redneck Freemasons, I've met many of them.
It started growing a year ago. We have about 60 members. At the same time with
what the fuck are you talking about?
At the same time with your South Carolina. The CPUSA.
Oh, cool. Yeah, man. Communism's growing in the South.
Something's going on.
Please don't make any of the South will rise again jokes, everybody. Please don't.
No, don't.
Don't do it. I've seen a few cringe things where people have tried to combine Southern. What?
Southern
just very cringe.
I know what you're talking about.
Southern culture things blending with communism in the worst way.
Is this the same MAGA communism?
I don't even know. I think it's boomer adjacent. I don't even know. It's not good though. It doesn't feel like it feels like it feels more tone deaf than intentionally chauvinistic.
Yeah, I don't even know. I don't get it. I don't even know. If it's meant like a joke, I don't think it's funny. It's not funny. By the way, KFC started in Utah.
Utah?
That's what Ludlow said.
Gotta get that Mormon chicken.
Salt Lake, right?
Salt Lake City is in Utah, yes.
Mm-hmm.
My motorcycle, I had to get a motorcycle fixed there one time.
Is Kentucky a real place or was it invented by the Barbie company? I don't even know. I don't think it's real.
It's real. I have kin there.
Really?
Yep.
Mm-hmm. What day is it in Vietnam? 11-hour difference or 23 hours and morning but a different day?
We're in the future.
We are in the future. It is 13-hour different compared to the EST and it's 9 a.m. the next day to your time.
Are we in the future of Europe too? Or just the US?
Future of Europe too. Wow. It's 6 hours or something like that. Is this 11 hours or 13 hours? 11 hours. I'm so ding dong. I don't even know. It's either 11 hours or 13, something like that. I think it's 11.
Daylight savings. Sometimes it's 12 hours.
Sometimes it's 12. Half of a year is 12 hours. For the other half.
It doesn't matter.
It doesn't freaking matter.
No one cares.
You don't care.
I don't care.
New York City is Thursday, May 2nd. Here it is Wednesday, May 3rd.
That's impossible. That's not true.
I don't even know.
You just said that New York's in the future.
New York, Jason said in New York City it is Thursday, May 2nd. No, it should be Tuesday, May 2nd. Come on, people. Don't F up with me. Move on.
Now you're getting trolled.
Move on. I'm getting trolled back. Can I have that mosquito thing? mosquito here. Back to my parents' house.
Start your show. Start the show.
Hi everybody, welcome to Mooncast. This is my Mooncast. I have to deal with mosquito all around me because I'm back to my parents' house. They're just calling me. No.
Oh my god, this is the worst start of a Mooncast ever.
Are you having fun?
As a fan, I'm officially complaining.
I'm sorry.
Turn your phone off when you're streaming.
I can't. Somebody's calling me. No.
You can't.
I have to text.
When you're streaming.
Exactly.
Just put the phone down and start your show. These people paid $0.
Exactly.
To start your show. Luna, dead air.
Oh my gosh! A person just called me.
No one cares. Start your show.
Hi everybody, thank you, Duckels. How can I say your name right, Duckels?
Wow, so far in this show we've had time zone discourse. We've had Kentucky discourse.
We have a CPSI Discord.
Just start the show.
Okay, Duckels, thank you so much for the super chat. Hey, your translation of the intro to Muslim is truly wonderful and has helped me explain some of the basics about dialectical materialism to my family and friends. Thank you so much. Oh, this is so awesome. Thank you so much, comrades, and thank you so much for your support for, supporting me by reading the book and giving your feedback right now. Thank you so much. Yes, I am very proud of that translation of mine, which is the work of all, the best philosophers and teachers, lecturers, Marxist lecturers in Vietnam, and it explained Marxism, Leninism in a very simplistic way, but still, enough, it still maintain all the core and most important knowledge that you should know about. And the most important thing that I think that the book contribute to, to the audience is this, I do know that Marxism, Leninism is not taught in your, education system officially. So whenever if you want to learn about it, you have to go and do your own reading, your own research, and mostly there's no, official guidance from professionals like lecturers or actual Marxists that are practicing Marxists. Or whenever you know about it, some would be like, Ben Burgess, the freaking Marxist, but actually he is just a reactionary analytical Marxist, which is, the one who been destroying Marxism for a long time. Just long story short, learn it from those people.
Don't learn from the people.
Don't learn from those people. All right?
Real quick, I want to just tell an anecdote that kind of talks about what you're talking about.
Okay.
So on Twitter.
Hi,
everybody. I know. Okay, so Luna had this big tweet blow up. We talked about it on Breadcast a couple days ago. But anyway, got a lot of shitty comments in it. And a lot of them came from debate. I call them argumentalists. I mean, they think that arguing about things is practice. But anyway.
It still sounds so nice though. But anyway.
Or you can call them the debate cult or debate fascists. But regardless. Mm-hmm. So one of the things that they do is they try to say that dialectical materialism and historical materialism are the same thing. Okay? That's what the debate fascists say all the time, the argumentalists, because they don't want people to really understand dialectical materialism.
Yeah.
Because if you actually understand it, then you will stop watching their shit, because it's you start to realize how facile their shit is. But anyway, so one of these debate cult members was like, oh, this is that girl that thinks that dialectical materialism is when you make arguments based in the material world. And then somebody else commented that's what it is. What do you think dialectical materialism is? I mean, that's not all dialectical materialism, but that's
that is the part of it. Yeah.
If you're going to make an argument as a dialectical materialist, you do it based on the material world. Anyway, that person then they give the definition of historical materialism, which we know comes from the debate argumentalist sphere.
They equate, they think that
they say that, and the reason why is because that's what Google says. Because if you look up the definition of dialectical materialism on Google, it gives you the definition for historical materialism, because historical materialism is the application of dialectical materialism.
Google was even bold enough. I tried it and I saw it with my own eyes. Google was even bold enough to say that dialectical materialism is a synonym for historical materialism, and they gave the definition of historical materialism was
which is just funny. It's why would there? Anyway, I don't know. I'm trying to get through to the marrow of this. So anyway, Luna replied like they get all of their information from their debate cult leaders, which is true. And then that person replied, "You get all your information from the Vietnam education system, so I don't want to hear about it." And it's like, okay, who are you going to trust?
Who are you going to trust
about dialectical materialism? I'm just saying. All I'm saying is this: are you going to trust? What is it like? 30 or 40 PhD holders who study dialectical materialism for a living, who came together to make this curriculum
from a country which is
where they're actually practicing it, or some dude who just reads Wikipedia all day? Like, who are you going to trust?
And just Google for 2 minutes all day.
I mean, look, regardless of what it's just so absurd to me. It's so funny. It's like,
and see the chauvinism in it. They'd rather trust a dude,
a white dude.
Like a white dude who must be white, just a white dude who has no certificate whatsoever, just talk in front of the camera for a living over a literal professors, a bunch of professors from an actual country that won against.
Well, no, you see, they're not from a white supremacist country that follows the liberal bourgeois civil society line on all this philosophy. Which, by the way, I mean, all you gotta do is go look at Operation Mockingbird and look at how the bourgeois conception of communist theory has been so adulterated for, like almost a century now, to understand why things like analytical Marxism even exist.
Analytical Marxism is reactionary, and all they do was to revise Marxism to serve their fascist cause.
But it's like, no, Vietnamese academics can't possibly have anything to contribute. That's literally what they're saying.
Yes,
they're literally saying Vietnamese academics cannot contribute anything to philosophy whatsoever.
Racist assholes.
There's nothing you can gain from it whatsoever. But you can Google something, and the immediate Google result is completely infallible. You can't argue with it because Google said it. You can't argue it because Wikipedia said it. They're not trying to get to the essence, by the way, of this philosophy. They're not trying to actually understand and grapple with the ideas presented at all. They want to cut you off from that. They want to make sure that you don't grapple with these ideas directly. That's why they go directly to these kind of like ad hominem and misogynist
attack and sexist attack and racist attack.
They always go directly to shit like that. They never grapple with the actual ideas at all. Mm-hmm. And if they do, they sound completely ludicrous. That's why they try to avoid doing that.
Yes.
So anyway, just be careful as you're going around in the world and you find people like that.
I mean, they encourage you from, reading by yourself and do research by yourself and listen from many, many sides. All they want their cult members to do is to, suck into their influence forever and worship them and stay in that forever.
Yeah, or at least give them money.
Give them money. I mean, that means money.
But yeah, I mean, like in the book that we translated, that Luna translated and I helped edit. But in this book, it gives you the sources for everything and encourages you to go read the original sources from like Marx and Engels and Lenin. So like you don't have to take our word for it. We try to like give you some tips before going into it. Mm-hmm. You can't clap your hands the whole stream. I know there's a lot of mosquitoes, but at least try to use you can't just be like randomly clapping the whole stream.
Sorry.
But okay. Anyway.
Continue your
my noodles.
Noodles. Okay.
Right, I will return now to noodles.
Yep, Ontavio, it is exactly this. Absolutely nothing.
No, just whatever Google spits back at you. Like Google obviously has an interest in everyone learning of communism.
Yep.
Google obviously wants everyone to learn the truth about communism, right?
Freaking Google, yeah. And also, that's a person, Vietnamese person. Are you Vietnamese? Đúng rồi, mình là người Việt Nam. Đang ở Việt Nam luôn á. Thank you so much for the question. They're asking if I am real Vietnamese. I said, yes, I am real actual Vietnamese living in Vietnam. And the room behind me, it looks very Vietnamese. Yes, yeah, it is. I am truly Vietnamese. Ethan, thank you so much for your support. It is solidarity coming from CPUSA in Kentucky. Thank you. All right, let's check the chat. Okay, I will say it straight too. Here's the thing, to continue my thought when I talked about it before. Since you do not have an official education from the best, like professors and Marxist philosophers in schools, all you can do is to go do it yourself. And to be honest, lots of you will be lost on the way there, because I know for a fact that writings coming from Marx and Engels and Lenin were very hard to understand, especially Capital. Volume 1, 2, 3 is really freaking hard to understand. And also he wrote it like originally in German, which is a very complicated kind of language too. And lots of you, without any guidance, any accurate guidance, you will be lost in the way. That is why there are so many people calling themselves Marxists or Leninists, but then they have like totally, absolutely reactionary views or understanding of that ideology. And it is very, very sad. They either like evil people who intentionally be reactionaries, because like they actually fascists disguising as Marxist-Leninists, but there are also a large portion of it as people who totally lost, because they learn from analytical Marxists like Ben Burgess. He has like something like doctor philosophy degree. He white dude and a native speaker who speaks perfect English, so he might sound smart. But what he taught you is totally a reactionary version of Marxism, and lots of you will fall for it. And that is why I believe that, and I hope that with this book that I translated, it will help guide you how to accurately approach to Marxism-Leninism, and how to understand it and how to apply it into practice and learn it from actual, a whole nation that successfully had the revolution, the communist revolution, and won against both colonialism and imperialism against the USA. And we are practicing Marxism to this day. So at least we can have something to offer you, even like the mistakes that we make and all the achievements that we have. And that is what we want you to do. And we want to help you to give you some basic guidance, basic understanding of that very complicated ideology, and hopefully you can use it in your own country, in your own society, to have some change. That's the real hope that I have with the book that I translated. So analytical Marxism is a very reactionary, again with MAGA communism and a bunch of the other kind of left-wing ideologies that are very common and famous in the West. That I know it is hard for you to go to the core of it, to find out if they are reactionary or not, and that requires a lot amount of learning, education, and listen to other people. It is hard. That is why I have been receiving attacks from all sides. It is very much of a headache. All right, back to the book, because since we are talking about the book, I will start talking about the main topic today, which is proletarian piety. And if you have any questions, you can just ask me in the chat, and I will try to answer them all. You're all welcome, because today, the purpose of the Mooncast today is for education. So if you have something that you do not understand yet, just ask. All right. So what we have that I think that a very important contribution to the application of Marxism-Leninism was a concept called proletarian piety. And it came up by, Ho Chi Minh and many other communists of Vietnam during the 20s and 30s and the 40s and in the 50s. Or the struggle, period time of Vietnamese communists against colonialism and imperialism. Now, what is the origin of proletarian piety? So here's the thing. Wow, we have to start first. First of all, you need to understand this. Again, I'm mentioning Ben Burgess because I am very furious about how wrong those analytical Marxists were about Marxism-Leninism. Those analytical Marxists, they were bold enough and were ignorant enough to say that Marxism-Leninism has no morality base. Marxism is just a science and it has no morality in it, which is totally wrong, that I cannot imagine that they can be more wrong than that. Marxism-Leninism is the entire existence of Marxism-Leninism is morality. It is a morality based on the working class, based on the care for humanity, the liberation of the entire humanity. The liberation of entire humanity is the morality of Marxism-Leninism. That is why they were so wrong, and that is why I am very angry and frustrated at those analytical Marxists. And one of them is Ben Burgis, who were ignorant enough. A person that has a Doctor of Philosophy degree that dare to say that there's no morality in Marxism-Leninism, while, as I said, I will say it again because it's very important. Important thing must be repeated at least 3 times. The entire existence of Marxism-Leninism is for the liberation of the humanity, the end of exploitation. That is the morality of Marxism-Leninism, of communism. All right. Now, the whole as I said again, the point of communism is to end exploitation, to end the suffering of the working class from capitalism, from capitalists all around the world. And only when we can liberate our humanity, there is no exploitation. We can move on to a new society where people can truly pursue their happiness. All right, that is very important. So based on that love to the working class, we have a whole ideology of how to teach people how to sympathize with the working class and how to help the working class get rid of the exploitation, of the suffering, how to move a society forward a happier future. That is just it. If you don't want to use any kind of big words to describe the future society of communism, it's just that. It is a society where humanity is truly liberated. There is no exploitation, there is no suffering, and people can truly pursue the happiness. So Vietnamese communists, including Ho Chi Minh, deeply understand that. That is why we followed communism, and communism guided us the way to liberate us from colonialism and imperialism, and why Vietnam maintained our independence and freedom to this day. At the same time, because the whole point of Marxism-Leninism is that you have to apply that ideology into your living society to make your own version of it. Lenin did that. The version of Marxism-Leninism is Lenin's contribution of Marxism into the material conditions of Russia in the early 20th century when he had to fight against the Tsars. All right? In China, it was Mao Zedong taught. It's not Maoism. You have to distinguish between Mao Zedong taught and Maoism because they are different things. Okay, Mao Zedong himself, when he was alive, he asked people to not call his ideology, quote unquote, Maoism. He didn't want people to call that. So that was why Chinese comrades and all the comrades all around the world there was a Mao Zedong thought. And Mao Zedong thought was the application of Marxism-Leninism into the material conditions of China in the early 20th centuries, with Mao Zedong was the leader of the revolution. Again, at the same time, Ho Chi Minh also applied Marxism-Leninism into the living condition, into the material conditions of Vietnam in the 20s all the way to the 70s. And that's what we call Ho Chi Minh thought. That is a very basic understanding of why we have a Mao Zedong thought and Ho Chi Minh thought and even Leninism. All right. So yeah, so a lot of people ask about like what do Vietnamese people, that's a side question, but like a lot of people ask like what do Vietnamese people view of Mao Zedong thoughts. To be very honest, Mao Zedong thoughts do not have much of influence in Vietnam because at the same time, we simultaneously develop our own application of Marxism-Leninism. So we view Mao Zedong thought and Ho Chi Minh thought as like equal. And we understand that Mao Zedong thought is for China and Ho Chi Minh thought is for Vietnam. And if you are a Marxist-Leninist in your own country, you also need to develop your own application of Marxism-Leninism so it can fit your own material conditions. And you need to consider that to be equal to Mao Zedong thought or Ho Chi Minh thought. All right. Of course, you need to learn about it. You should learn about it, and you should like consider it, but you do not copy it. That is the very last thing that you do. No, you should never copy just Mao Zedong thought or Ho Chi Minh thought because it is not made for you. It is like a shoe that is just made for Vietnamese people. It's like a shoe that made for Chinese people. You have to make your own shoes. Like, all we can give you is the material. And what we need to do is you take that material and you shape it to fit the feet of your own people to make your own shoes. That is very important. Okay, right. So Ho Chi Minh thought is an application of Marxism-Leninism into the material conditions of Vietnam from the 20s all the way even until now because we're still developing it. And back to the main topic today, proletarian piety, why we came up with that idea. Okay, because of the material conditions of Vietnam at that time we were still under feudalism and colonialism and also 1,000 years of occupation of, the kings coming from the north. So we had very strong Confucianism in Vietnamese society at that time. And according to Confucianism, the filial piety is a very important concept. What is filial piety? Filial piety is a concept where the children must deeply respect, love, and listen to the parents. That is it. The filial piety, like deeply love and respect and listen and obey the parents. Now, Ho Chi Minh, based on that kind of material condition of Vietnamese society at that time, that like the filial piety was very strong. And now Ho Chi Minh wanted to introduce Marxism, Leninism, and the love to the proletariat to the people of Vietnam at that time. Now, so what did they do? What they did was that they learned about, the parallel, the similarity of that love to the proletariat, the love to the humanity, and the love from the parents to love from the children to the parents. Now, what the parallel is that like that? Like, yeah, Ho Chi Minh and other communists of Vietnam, they came up with the idea of proletarian piety. Means that we as communists, we as Marxist-Leninists, we have to deeply love the working class, love the suffering people, love the people who have been exploited by feudalism, by colonialism, all right? And to show the sympathy and empathize with those people. That is how, they introduced that concept to the Vietnamese people. And that is the love to the working class. The proletarian piety became one of the 4 basic morality of communists in Vietnam. That's how important it is. And that is, the proletarian piety concept is one of a very strong evidence of how Vietnamese communists apply Marxism-Leninism into the material conditions of Vietnamese society at that time. Very important like that because they learn Marxism-Leninism, they learn the material conditions of people, Vietnamese people at that time, and they combine it together and they came up with their own application when it's called Ho Chi Minh thoughts. And one of it is proletarian piety, where they kind of convert the filial piety in a society, in a feudal society at that time, that mostly only in the family level, that the children must love and respect and listen and obey their parents. Now is the communists, is the working class must love each other. The proletariat must deeply love and respect. All right? And also obey in the sense that you must listen to them, hear what they want, and make that come true, and end their suffering and their exploitation coming from the colonialists. At the same time, it's also the same time as the Mao Zedong taught, it's like, like into the coming from the masses and back into the masses. Also very important, mass line. Mass lines is also an application of Marxism-Leninism into the material conditions of China under Mao Zedong time. And in Vietnam, we also have the same parallel thing, which is Ho Chi Minh said many times that whatever you write, whatever kind of ideas that you want to communicate with the people, you need to write it come out from the masses, but back into the masses. Means that you have to learn from the masses what they want. Okay, from that, what the desire of the masses, you come up with an idea and you talk with your own people. And then from that ideas, you need to educate it back to the masses, apply it back to the society to see if it works or not. And again, listen to the masses to see what the idea about this solution that we came up with. And it's like, the feedback loop like that forever. So it is very simple in theory, but it's very hard to practice this. That is why we must do it all together. That is why many argumentalists, debate bros, debate cultist members, they just love to sit there and argue about it. Because again, it's just so easy to talk about it. It's just so easy to just sit there and think about it and do absolutely nothing. And people, still being fooled by them because they sound smart. They use a bunch of words that sound smart and they look white and they don't have any accent. They're native speakers. So like, oh, just sit there and do absolutely nothing and talk about it sounds so fucking smart. But actually, the core value of learning about Marxism-Leninism, the core value of being a leftist is to learn and then apply what you learn into practice. To make some change, to actually help people out there in real life. That is why I've been done telling you that just try to not do nothing. Just do based on what you can. I'm not forcing you to do anything that you cannot do or you don't want to do. No. From each according to your need. All right? And, just do what you can. And the point is to get together, to organize, and to make some change. Because what's the point of learning? As Ho Chi Minh said, I will quote him right now. As Ho Chi Minh said many times. If books are priceless and learning book is very important. Reading books is very important. But if you just read books and you fail to apply the theories that you read from the books, you fail to apply those into reality, into practice, you're nothing but a bookshelf. You are literally nothing but a bookshelf that can happen nothing in the real life. Very important. Yep. We have a filial piety in the U.S., but only for one day, Mother's Day and Father's Day. Well, I don't comment about that because I am not a U.S. citizen. I'm checking the chat right now to see if you have any questions about it. Everything is just words and criticism and no actions. Revolutionary in words, not in deeds. That's what all these argumentative groups are doing. Yeah, exactly. I mean, it is very what do you call it? To say the least, they are sabotaging the movement that we are trying to build, because we as human beings, we will make mistakes. Yes. But the whole point, again, is to change the material conditions of people, to end the exploitation and the suffering. We have to go out there, organize, and make some change. And along the way of organizing like that, you will make mistakes. And as Ho Chi Minh said, I will quote him again, you should not be afraid of making mistakes. What you should be afraid of is that you make mistake and you don't fix it. That is the thing you should be scared of. Of course, we will make mistakes. As I said, we are human beings. We are flawed kind of beings, right? You will make mistakes, and you should not be afraid of making mistakes, because that is obvious. That's unavoidable. But we have to fix it. We have to fix our mistakes. And if you don't do it, that is what you should be scared of. And Ho Chi Minh said too, that's what he said in a guidance that he wrote for the Communist Party of Vietnam, because lots of people, they don't do anything because they're afraid that they will make mistakes and people will criticize them. And that's why Ho Chi Minh tried to no, you have to make it. And also you have to be willing to do it, willing to make mistakes, and willing to fix your own mistakes, willing to listen to the criticisms coming from your comrades, and do not take it personally. That is very important. Oh, another thing that I want to talk about too, after I finish my point, is my talking point is that about the take everything into personal attack. So we Vietnamese comrades, especially the Communist Party of Vietnam. There's a Vietnamese comrades. I will answer them. There's how did I improve my speaking skills? Because they knew me through my video about the Temple of Literature. I will come back and answer your question real quick. Let me finish my talking point. All right. So what Ho Chi Minh said is this: we as communists, Vietnamese communists in the context, all right, we should never be afraid of making mistakes, because the point of learning theory is apply it into practice. And along the way, we will make mistakes. And what we should be, if we must be scared of, is that we will not fix the mistakes. That is why willing to make mistakes, willing to apply the theory into practice, and willing to listen to the criticisms coming from our comrades, and willing to give criticism. That is very important too. And do not take all those criticism as personal attack. That's why Ho Chi Minh in the work that he did in 1947, it's called Modifying the Working Style. He criticized the working style of the Communist Party of Vietnam at that time, because lots of communists, they were afraid to give criticism, and they were afraid to receive criticism, because lots of them do not know how to give criticism and how to take criticism. It is very important, and it's very important kind of right thing that I think that we all must learn, especially communist parties all over the world. What he taught us is that we as comrades, we need to be very honest and welcoming to each other. That is why when we see a comrade did something wrong, or in my opinion, we have a better idea, we have to be open about it and be honest about it. And the purpose of giving criticism is to make both sides better. The purpose of criticism is not to dunk on other people, to make you feel better or you feel smarter. The point is to help each other. So you must be willing to give criticism, constructive criticism. Very important here, constructive criticism, understanding why they are making those mistakes, and explain to them why it is bad and why your idea may be better, and talk about it openly. Again, that is for people who give criticism. Remember to always give constructive criticism, kind of criticism that can help you and help that person, not for just to dunk on other people to make you feel better or smarter. No, never do that. All right. And if you have that thought in your head, shut up. All right, you rather say nothing than just to dunk on other people just for the sake of dunking. All right, give criticism, constructive criticism, very honestly like that. About people who receive criticism, now this is the hard part right here, because again, I do not like criticism, but then we have to understand, we have to overcome that kind of ego inside you, that when our comrade is giving and we know that is a constructive criticism, and you know that they have a point, that they speaking the truth, like people who criticize Vietnam of still having like corruptions, terrible like pollution. Yeah, I agree with that. There's a lot of things that we need to improve in our country. Like Vietnam still doesn't have a free healthcare yet, even though it's very affordable, but it's not free yet. So yeah, I totally agree with you. Yeah, it sucks. Yes, and I want us to fix it. Thank you so much for your criticism. Overcome your ego. Take those criticism, like a constructive criticism from your comrades, and then try to improve yourself. And a lot of people like say like constructive criticism about my accents. I still have accents, and I said that word wrong. Okay, yeah, thank you so much, and I will try to remember that and improve that in the future. Thank you so much for that. Thank you for pointing that out. Or like a lot of people I thank my chat a lot. Like a lot of my comrades in the audience right now watching it. When I said something wrong, and they immediately like criticize me, and I really appreciate that, because I know that they are trying to help me to improve, not just to dunk on me, because I can tell from the tone immediately. So I'm very thankful for all my audience in the chat right now. They've been very, very kind to me, and always, correct me when I'm wrong in a very constructive way. And I know for a fact that lots of people would learn from that too, because we all human beings, we cannot know all. But with, all together, with all the knowledge combined together, we invincible. Haha. So, all right. Again, that is about to take criticism. All right. And that is very important, to give and take criticism. One of the very important lessons that all Vietnamese communists have to learn. All right. And at that talking point, now I answer this Vietnamese person about how to improve speaking skills. How do I say that? I will say in Vietnamese and then I translate because I personally ask in Vietnamese. Cái việc mà mình cải thiện cái nói tiếng Anh ấy thì là cái đầu tiên ấy là mình phải, thực ra thì mình cũng chậm rãi, nó từ hàng ngày, chứ mình cũng không tập trung quá về cái việc là phải học các cái khẩu âm như thế nào. Nhưng mà cái việc mà mình xem phim này, hoặc là mình nghe nhạc này, và mình để phụ đề tiếng Anh á, chứ mình không để phụ đề tiếng Việt đâu, mình để phụ đề tiếng Anh, và mình nghe người ta nói những cái từ như thế nào, và mình nhìn cái từ đấy, thì mình dần mình gọi là mình nghe nhiều quá ấy, mình sẽ dần mình sẽ bị nhiễm vào đầu, mình sẽ nói những cái từ đấy nó chuẩn hơn. Và nữa là cái việc là khi mà mình nói nhiều, mình làm nhiều video như thế này, và cái đấy là khi mà mình edit lại cái video của mình nghe lại cái tiếng giọng nói của mình, và mình biết được là cái từ này nó là sai như thế nào, và mình phải sửa, thì mình từ từ nó sẽ vào đầu luôn. Và cũng rất là nhiều người, ví dụ như là chồng mình, hoặc là những cái người bạn người nước ngoài mà nghe mình nói sai, thì họ sẽ nói chỉnh để cho mình luôn ấy. Thì mình lâu dần khi mà mình nói nhiều và mình nghe nhiều thì mình sẽ nhớ. Và nếu mà trong trường hợp mà nếu bạn không có cái trực tiếp người nước ngoài hướng dẫn, hoặc là sống với bạn ấy để sửa ấy, thì bạn cứ xem phim thật là nhiều vào, nghe nhạc thật là nhiều vào, và để phụ đề tiếng Anh. Và khi người ta nói thì bạn những cái từ mới thì bạn có thể nhại lại, nói lại những cái từ mới đấy, dần nó sẽ nhập vào trong đầu của bạn, thì nó sẽ lâu dần thì nó sẽ nói tốt hơn. Thực ra là bây giờ cái tiếng Anh của mình nó chỉ là tốt hơn với ngày xưa thôi, chứ nó không thể là cái ngữ âm của mình nó vẫn là khá là nặng. Cho nên là mà chủ yếu là mục đích của tiếng Anh là để giao tiếp hai bên nói chuyện cho nó rõ, cho nên là lâu dần thì sẽ nói dễ nghe hơn với người nước ngoài. Và đấy, so I just answer the Vietnamese comrade about how to improve the English speaking skill. It's actually that I did not really, trying to mimic the accent, because lots of Vietnamese students, they do that. They spend a lot of money and time and effort on mimicking the accent so they can sound like native speakers. But the fact is, any native speaker can tell that person has a genuine accent, or they just mimic it, because eventually something will slip in and they can tell. So my point is that like when I watch like movies or listening to music, I will turn on English subtitles. I do not use Vietnamese subtitles for a long time already. I turn on English subtitles so I can see the word and I can hear the word into my own ears, and slowly over time that word will stuck into my head and how to say it right and how people like speak it in real life. You're right. And also, I have my own videos, and whenever I record it and I go back and I edit it and I like, whoopsie, that word I said it wrong, and I emphasized on the wrong syllable, and I have to go to fix it. And that kind of experience, the working experience, will slowly come into your head, and you would like slowly improve your accent or like your pronunciation at least. And my purpose is this: I do not want anybody to waste your money and your time and effort into mimicking any accent, because like there's no point in it. It's super rare. It's really rare. There are some extremely talented people who can perfectly mimic an accent, but it's super rare. And I don't think it's worth it, because the point of communication is to make other people to understand what you are talking about. That is very important. So the point is that like to reduce, if you have a very strong accent, trying to reduce that slowly a little bit over time. The most important thing is to have the right pronunciation. And the biggest problem that Vietnamese people have is we emphasize on the wrong syllable. For example, like from the starting of this stream, the Kentucky, the name of a state, right? Is a state of America, right? Kentucky. And I emphasized on the wrong syllable. I thought it was Kentucky, but actually it was Kentucky. That is very important. That is, I think, the hardest part for Vietnamese people in learning how to speak English, because our language is very like chop, 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 like that. One word is one syllable, something like that when we say that. But in English, it's opposite. And it is very important to emphasize on the right syllable, because if you emphasize on the wrong syllable, people won't understand you. We won't be able to understand you. That is very hard for us to learn English. And yeah, if you are exposed enough to English, you pay attention to it, slowly over time, you will improve that. Yep. Yeah, the stress is all over the place. It is very annoying. Yes.
Would you say that it is stressful?
Stress on those syllables of the word, not stressful.
That joke went right over your head.
Yeah, went right over my head, like this joke.
You said it's very difficult to put the stress, and I said, would you say that it's stressful?
Yeah, true. I mean, I get it now.
Stressful.
Yes.
Good pun.
Totally understand it now. Yes, I understand the joke now. It's funny. Yes. Haha. So like for the one of the newest Kansas.
Arkansas.
Oh my gosh, kill me already. Arkansas. There's no saw in here, that's just.
It's Arkansas.
Ay, ay, ay. People pronounce a bunch of words differently even if we are American. Yes, exactly. EJ, keep repeating the punchline until it's funny.
That joke deserves way more credit than it's getting from all of you.
For me, it's harder to understand someone without accent than you. Okay. Hey, what's your opinion on Vietnam War movies? Generally speaking, I haven't watched a good Vietnam War movies coming from Hollywood yet. No. Apocalypse Now? No. The part of Apocalypse I hate the most Was it the part, like when, remember there's a scene in Apocalypse Now where like Vietnamese Viet Cong, aka Vietnamese Communist fighters, shot down an airplane, U.S. airplane, right? And people are just like, oh, they show the U.S. Soldiers suffering from the plane crash. And they portrayed us as those barbarians who like just shot down and scream in happiness or something, and then ran away and left them alone suffering. Like, no, it is historically inaccurate because Vietnamese people, we did not waste anything. So at that time, we were very poor and we had to fight against a very almighty empire of the USA. We didn't have enough anything to fight against them. So whenever we shot down an airplane or something like that, we would go and, what did you call this? Scavenger? What is the verb? And scavenge it. We would never leave a whole plane alone like that in the jungle. No. We would go and collect everything that we could. So in that scene of the Apocalypse Now, we just left the airplane like it's totally wrong. No, we would never do that. We would go there and grab everything that we could, like guns, bullets, food, parachute, the metal from the airplane. We can make like a bunch of like stuff from, like tables or chairs or cups. But we can grab your bombs, take out the gunpowder, and made it our own bomb from it. There's no fucking way you're gonna leave that alone like that. So historically inaccurate. And I hate that too when they portray U.S. soldiers as a bunch of, like sad people, sad people who were forced here. Yeah, I feel kind of a little bit sorry for them too. Like, they were being dragged here to this country on the other side of the earth, and they were forced to commit war crimes and kill innocent people. And it portrayed the Vietnamese communist fighter as a bunch of barbarians who just love killing. When literally we had to defend our own people against the war crimes committed by strangers coming from the outside of the earth just to genocide us. So, it sucks. And also the Red Dawn is not a Vietnam Wars movie, but it is, to be very honest with you, Red Dawn is a movie about the American wet dream where they can be Vietnamese. Literally. Something like this. It was so bad. My gosh, it was so freaking bad.
She's talking about the original, by the way.
The original Red Dawn.
Luna hasn't seen the remake, and neither have I.
No, I don't want to watch it.
We're ready for that.
I don't know if it's worth it or not. The American wet dream of Americans being like Vietnamese in the Vietnam War. There's a super sticker coming from John T. Thank you so much. And it's a blue-green pear. Say, fist bump. Cute. Here, fist bump. And thank you so much for the super chat, Joe. Hey Luna, I am an American interested in traveling to Vietnam to learn about life there and social in practice. Do you have any travel advice? I think this is a question for EJ. Do you have any travel advice for Joe?
Traveling to America?
Traveling from America to Vietnam.
Oh. Travel light. Hold on, I'll come talk. All right, so the first thing I would always suggest everybody do if you're traveling to Vietnam, and this sort of applies to most of Southeast Asia too, but first of all, travel light. I see these, they call them tai ba lo in Vietnam. It means Western, it literally means Western backpack, but like a backpacker. All right, case in point. I feel sorry for these people. When Luna and I were leaving our hotel in Ninh Binh like 3 days ago, there were these two ladies, and they were probably in their early 20s, I guess you'd say.
Yeah.
Probably not much bigger than Luna.
Nope.
They had massive backpacks. Huge, like the big, huge, like stereotypical backpacker backpacks. One of them had a full-size guitar in a case and 2 pairs of fucking sneakers hanging off the back of her backpack. And I mean, like, okay, I get it. Maybe you're backpacking around for months. I still don't think you need that much stuff. There's laundry in every town you're going to go to, basically. Mm-hmm. You could always wash your clothes in a sink if you have to, which Luna did for years, right?
Yeah, I did it for years.
Like, Luna never had a washing machine until how old were you?
Oh my gosh, washing machine until 2016.
Yeah.
2016. So, I mean,
travel light. You're going to be doing all kinds of stuff. You might be getting on trains. You might get on a boat. You might be getting on, who knows, like little cramped taxis. Like, don't carry all this stuff. Travel light.
And also, if your shoes are broken or something, just buy a new pair in Vietnam. They're so cheap.
Yeah, you can buy shoes in Vietnam. I highly recommend, if you come to Hanoi, get a pair of Ho Chi Minh sandals. They're very good for traveling in Vietnam. You can buy them in other places too, but they're like the black rubber sandals. I have 2 pairs now. They're so good. But one pair will like last you your entire life. I just have 2 different styles.
She could have had a ukulele.
I know. If you really want to bring musical instruments, I understand that. But a full size guitar, it wasn't even like a parlor guitar. It was like a full freaking size guitar. I mean, I guess if you're a professional musician or whatever, that's a totally different story, and I can't give you advice if that's the case. Yeah. But anyway, all right. What else? Learn at least the basic survival Vietnamese, which is you should be able to count to 10 without thinking about it. So, and you could do that on the plane ride over, honestly. It's going to be you're going to have at least a 12 or 13 hour flight at one point, and you can spend that time. I mean, I spend that time sleeping, but I'm just saying you can learn to count to 10. You can learn to say hello, goodbye, thank you, I'm sorry, how much, just the basic stuff like that. That'll help you a lot. You can survive with no Vietnamese, but it's going to make Vietnamese people appreciate it if you speak a little Vietnamese. And you have to know the tones. If you don't know the tones, A, people aren't going to understand you, but B, you might say something by accident. So get familiar with the tones as well as possible, just for the survival stuff. And they'll help you, and you can use body language. Mm-hmm. But it's like if you go anywhere, if you learn a little bit of the language, people appreciate it, right? So,
brownie point that you can get.
Be nice to people. Don't be an asshole. Don't be an asshole, and people will be really nice to you. I've been in Vietnam for 10 years. I can literally count on one hand the number of times people have been like particularly rude to me. Really. No kidding. But it's just because I'm nice. You just smile. You be nice. If something feels like wrong or you feel like somebody got the price wrong or something, be pleasant about it and direct. Vietnamese people are very direct about money. So if you just say like, hey, I think that's too expensive or whatever, you can say that and they're not going to get offended. No. Because they talk about money all the time.
We have the culture of bargaining, so don't worry about it.
So you could just say like, oh, that price is too high, but you don't. But the way Westerners go wrong is they start getting pissed off and they're like, oh, you're trying to rip me off. Mm-hmm. Oh, this place is a scam. Blah 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 blah. That's when things really will go downhill for you. Mm-hmm. I think it comes from maybe the way that my mom raised me to be like very polite and not to ever make a scene. So that's benefited me a lot. But like I've seen European and American people, I've watched it happen. They get really pissy and then everything derails after that. There's a face culture in Vietnam where like you shouldn't just like accuse somebody of being a fucking thief or a fraud or something to their face, especially in public where other people can see you. I mean, I think that's true everywhere, so just be like polite and like cool about it. And you might pay foreigner prices. This is the other thing to understand. You might pay foreigner prices. Get used to the idea, okay? And it's not going to be that much. It's going to be like maybe they would charge a Vietnamese person 50 cents for a beer and they charge you 75 cents. I've seen, especially Australian and European people get really mad about this. Really mad. They'll be like, oh, I just saw them charge those Vietnamese people 50 cents for a beer. They're ripping us off. They're charging 75 cents for this beer. It's like, it's 25 cents.
Dude,
for you, it's nothing. For them, it's, quite a lot. It's like,
jeez.
Just pay the foreigner fee. I mean, it's like, consider reparations for the fucking century plus of colonization here that Europe did. So anyway, I don't know. That stuff just annoys the shit out of me. It's like, just get used to it. It's not a big deal. The food is going to be good, high quality. If you don't know where to eat, go to a place where there's lots of locals, right? Like if you see a lot of locals someplace, you know the food's going to be good. And if you don't know what to order, look at what other people are ordering and just point to their plate and say like, I'll have that. That's how I used to always pick my food out when I first got here. Before I was familiar with everything, I'd just look around and see what other people are eating, and I'd be like, that would be my menu. You know, like what everyone else is eating. That looks good. Okay. But yeah, I don't know. That's my basic. I think try to take the train at least once because it's awesome. It's got some of the most beautiful scenery. It's literally, I just found out Vietnam has like won global contest for like the most beautiful scenery from the trains. It's breathtaking, especially if you can go like around Da Nang on the Hai Van Pass, or if you can take motorbikes. If you've never ridden a motorbike in your life, Vietnam is not the place to try it for the first time. Okay. I say that as somebody who loves motorbikes. One of the reasons I moved to Vietnam originally was because I love motorbikes so much. And this is such a motorbike culture. But this is not the place to start learning how to ride a motorbike. Maybe if you're in a beach town like maybe in like Da Nang, although even Da Nang's starting to get more busy. No, yeah. But if you're in like a really quiet beach town, maybe if you feel really adventurous and you don't mind risking your life. But I would recommend if you really want to ride motorbikes in Vietnam and you've never ridden one before, start in your home country. Go take some classes or something, or find a friend that has a motorbike and get some lessons before you come to Vietnam, because it is extremely challenging, especially when you get into like city traffic in Vietnam. It's some of the most challenging riding if you're not used to that kind of like huge, super dense Vietnamese city conditions. So, and ditto for bicycles. You know, I've ridden bicycles and motorcycles in the middle of rush hour in Hanoi and Ho Chi Minh City. I never feel that freaked out, but I've got a lot of experience. And if you don't have that experience, then be careful. Although there are some beach towns where you can ride a bicycle around or in like the mountains or whatever. And it's totally quiet and fine and you'll be fine. But if I'm talking about the cities mostly there. So I don't know. Those are the things that I wish people had told me at the beginning. Try to avoid the touristy areas too. You know, get out there and meet some Vietnamese people. A lot of people come to Vietnam and they spend their whole time in like Bui Vien and the Bia Hoi corner and the old quarter in Hanoi, and they just talk to like white people.
So it's just like you go to Thailand and you always stay in Chiang Mai.
Yeah, it's
and
like,
talk to white people.
Get out in the countryside. Get out and do some stuff that people don't usually do. The central area, if you like history, is really wonderful. There's like, you know, that's where all the battlefields are, but that's also where the Imperial Citadel is in Hue. And you can go to Hoi An, which is like an old Chinese Vietnamese
My Son sanctuary.
My Son, you got to go to My Son, which is extremely hot in the summer, but as far as I'm concerned, that's just part of the experience. So I don't know. Yeah, have fun, be nice.
Stay away from McDonald's.
Yeah. I will say though that for some reason the McDonald's in Vietnam has way better food than the McDonald's in the USA.
No kidding. No,
but that doesn't mean you should go to McDonald's in Vietnam. I'm not endorsing that. I'm just saying it's an interesting thing.
Because we have a higher standard of food.
Yeah. The vegetables are way nicer.
Our ingredients are way better.
So yeah, if anybody has any specific questions, we can try to answer them.
Seeing Vietnamese traffic looks overwhelming.
Oh, crossing the road.
I
will tell you, here's crossing the road in Vietnam 101. Okay. Don't surprise anybody. That's the most important fundamental rule. That means once you choose to cross the road,
you keep doing it slowly.
Keep progressing at the same speed. Don't speed up. Don't slow down. Sometimes you'll have to.
Do not walk back. That's the worst mistake.
Don't step back. Don't step back.
You rather stand there and
stand your ground.
Yeah, then do not walk back.
But like, you know, sometimes you might have to stop because you've planned something wrong or you fucked up.
Or the cars, I didn't.
Yeah, but like, just try not to back up and try to just keep going at the same pace forward and make eye contact. Eye contact. People will just flow around you.
Yeah, it's like fish in the water.
Yeah.
People will flow around you, so make sure that you keep your speed, make eye contact, make sure that person see you, and the person doesn't see you. Just wave your hand and something like that to make sure.
It's really freaky the first few times you do it in a big city, like during rush hour. It's really freaky, but like you will be okay. I've never gotten hit by a car. I have had my foot run over by a motorbike once or twice. Not fast, like they weren't going fast. Usually the traffic is not that fast in Vietnam in general, but like during rush hour, it's crawling. And I have had my foot run over. I blame myself for those times when that's happened, and it didn't really hurt me. But that might be a reason to, just be really careful and, watch your little footsies. That's great advice on the ice for hockey, Ian said. It sounds very anxiety-inducing. It was at first. Oh, and by the way, it's up to you. Like, if you don't want to have the big, super, super dense city experience, don't go to Hanoi and don't go to Ho Chi Minh City. Like, you're not going to see that kind of wild traffic in Da Nang or in the center. You're not going to see that. Or if you go to, like, Sapa, or if you go to any of the countryside places, like when you're out in the countryside, it's pretty quiet. Like, it's comparatively much more quiet. The only cities where you're going to see that kind of stuff that you see in the videos where there's like thousands and thousands and thousands of motorbikes are going to be Hanoi and Ho Chi Minh City. So if you think you're going to hate that, then just don't go to the cities. You don't have to. You can totally avoid those cities and still have a great time. So,
yeah. Jason, thank you so much for your super chat. If Marxist did not prevent the later works of Marx from being translated into Russian, what would Lenin have done different? So, I need to read
my gosh. I mean, a lot of the works that Luna's curriculum book are like, a lot of the works that are fundamental to Luna's curriculum book were not translated into English until like well into the 20th century. So a lot of the basic stuff, I mean, didn't ever get translated until really, really late. And then people don't even know about it. So yeah, I don't know. I mean, it would have been cool. I don't know if it would have changed history or not. That's impossible to know. But like, think about, I'm trying to think of some of the more important, like, what are some of the works that didn't get translated into English until late? I can't think of any off the top of my head. I mean, I know that they exist, but I'm drawing a blank. But
hey, there's a comment from Malaysia.
I want to go Google that for a second. Luna, I'm going to go Google late works of Marx and Engels that were translated late, and then I'll read them out to you just for a little. That'll be kind of fun.
Yeah. Also, at the same, another thing too, that like we have a honking culture in Vietnam, and it doesn't mean rude. It doesn't mean that we're angry or something. When we honk at each other, we just trying to make sure that, hey, I'm here. Just like be careful.
Like sonar.
Yeah, it's like sonar, like honk honk. So it's like, it's not where like we are angry or we are mad at you or just scream at you. No. It just, even sometimes it's just like say wait to say hello, because like because like yesterday when we were waiting and the truck passed by and he looked at me and he honked. It's like a way to say hello. Not because I'm mad or anything. So totally opposite kind of honking culture here. Not into English. The works at the end of Marx's life were not translated into Russian, so Lenin did not see them. I mean, yes, it is sad. That is why that's why I'm trying to translate more of the books from different languages, so in this, like, people can know about it and learn about it. They know the language barrier should not be a barrier. If you get what I mean.
Okay. Grundrisse was not published in German until 1939, and it wasn't translated into English until 1973.
Wow.
Isn't that crazy?
That's crazy. What's it about?
Grundrisse. It's like the predecessor to Capital. It's got a lot of shit in it.
Oh, shit.
It's got a lot of really important stuff in it.
Oh my gosh, that's so sad. For me, the Vietnamese comrade said, many times they just honk it for fun, just for fun. So again, when we honk, it doesn't mean that we're rude or mad or scream at you. We just want to have your attention. We just want to have fun. Lenin understood German just fine. Yeah, dude knew a lot of languages. That was why Ho Chi Minh also spoke fluently about 5 or 6 languages. And he was able to speak around 30 languages. They're like not really like smart, like not like fluently in it, but like fluently 5 or 6. I mean, a lot of people saying like, oh, this is not true. Vietnamese lie about it. But actually, like those people who believe that, I do not think that they speak more than one language. Because here's the thing. I speak well, of course, my mother tongue Vietnamese. I speak English too, and I can speak Chinese too pretty good. And I can also speak some Japanese and some Korean. So here's the thing too. Like at some point when your brain are trained into more than 2 languages, it's very easy to add a new language into it because your brain is already trained for it. You just need like more time and effort to learn to practice it. So it's totally possible for one person to speak fluently 5 or 6 languages and learn to speak a few other languages. It's not even hard. I did learn some Spanish, and I want to learn some Portuguese and Spanish maybe in the future too. But I mean, at some point when you learn, you can speak more than 2 or 3 languages. It's so easy to add just one more. I mean, some person, EJ told me something that a guy said like, once you speak like several languages well, it's gonna take just 1 year to add a new language. It's not that hard. Yeah.
The more languages you learn, the easier it is learning.
Yeah. The more languages the easier.
Your brain starts to get really plastic.
Like language fluid. Yeah. Learn the correct Portuguese from Brazilians. Okay. Yeah, I find languages, both spoken and computer, require a certain muscle, quote unquote, to be exercised. The more languages you learn, the easier it is to learn even more. Yeah. The hardest is the second language. I think that's the hardest. It took me a very long time to learn English, to get rid of the Vietnamese pattern of speaking and listening and to learn English. But I learned Chinese in 2 years. And then I learned like Japanese and Korean in just a few months. It's not that hard after that point. But then the hardest part for me right now is time. I really do not have time to spend on a new language.
Who's Tom?
I'm very sad. Tom is the guy that I really want to have a time to know about him. But then... Why? Stop looking at me and smiling at me.
You have like a southern accent.
I do?
You're in the South, it's
not
Tam.
Tam.
It's Time.
Time. I hate that. I'm jealous of Vietnamese learning Chinese that like me learning Dutch as an English speaker. I mean, Vietnamese and Chinese quite similar in the sense that our grammar is quite similar. About 70% of our grammars are kind of the same kind of order of verb and subject, verb, and object and all kinds of stuff like that. And the pronunciation is also not that different, but the hardest part is the writing. I cannot write or read in Chinese now. I forgot all of that. It's really freaking hard. When I look at a word, I can guess based on the other words around it. But like if I have to write it, no way I can remember that. It's really hard. And yes, I what? I forgot. I lost my train of thought. There's Nguyễn Duyên. I mean, thực ra thì tiếng Anh thì nó cũng không khó đâu, tại vì là nếu mà mình học, mình nghe nhiều, mình xem phim các thứ nhiều ấy, thì mình sẽ nói được nhiều thôi, chứ còn nó cũng không khó lắm đâu. Hoặc là có thể là tại vì mình học nhiều quá rồi cho nên là bây giờ mình thấy nó cũng dễ. Nhưng mà thực ra là mình nhớ là ban đầu học cũng khó đấy nhỉ. Ban đầu học cấp 3 là mình học cũng khá là khó đấy, một ngày mình phải học thuộc 40 từ tiếng Anh các thứ để đi mà qua bài kiểm tra các thứ. Nói chung là chỉ cần là mình nghe nhiều, mình xem phim, mình nghe nhạc nhiều và có phụ đề tiếng Anh ấy, thì dần dần nó sẽ nghe vào tai của mình là mình sẽ nhớ được nhiều hơn. Mỗi cái bí quyết thì tôi chả có bí quyết gì. And I just speak to Vietnamese in a Vietnamese conference about like, very hard for them to listen to English. And I said like, exposure therapy. You have to expose yourself a lot to that kind of language. So you can remember and slowly put into your head. And again, it still require a lot of effort and time. Time. I still don't know how to pronounce that word.
A long I is like I.
Time. Time. Time.
Yeah.
Time.
Perfect.
Weird.
A lot better than Tom. I was jealous of Tom.
Tom. Shut up.
Love you.
See? Even until now, I still pronounce a word totally wrong. It is a very basic word. This is time. Time. No. Time. Ooh, hate it. Time. Time. Daniel, I said it's time.
This is where learning
makes
sense.
This
is where learning music could help you a lot. Like songs.
Music songs.
If I could turn
back time. True.
Time.
True. Okay.
If I could find a way.
Uchida Oginome. Thank you so much for super chat. First, in the US, do you think the word socialism and communism have been burned? If we have to choose a new word, what word should we choose?
No,
I don't think so. What you should do easier for you right now is to reclaim the true meanings of socialism and communism. Right? That is easier to do rather than building something new from scratch. Yes, I do agree with you that the definitions of socialism and communism in the West, especially in the USA, is being sabotaged and damaged heavily. So, for example, like you equate socialism to communism. Am I right?
People don't know what socialism is, and people don't know what communism is. So yeah. Sometimes they equate it. Sometimes they don't.
Sometimes they don't.
They don't know where they get their definition from. It's a mess. It's a hot mess.
So
and there are also just different definitions of socialism. I mean,
definition of socialism. You do not have a universal definition
there is
of
no
socialism.
Universal definition of socialism. I mean, that's just true everywhere.
It's true.
It's like
there's something that you all agree with. Something that at least I don't even know how to say it because we have a definition of socialism that we all agree with Vietnamese people.
Well, that is the Marxist-Leninist definition.
Yeah.
If there are Vietnamese SOCDEMs and they have a different definition.
Yes.
Don't get metaphysical.
Forgot about that. Yes. We have a Marxist definition of socialism, which is a transitional period from a capitalist society to a communist society. And once it is also, you can understand it as a lower stage of communism where we have the dictatorship of the proletariat. Sounds that scary, right? Because there's a word dictatorship in it, and people who are ignorant enough will just be scared of, dictatorship means bad. Dictatorship always means bad. They never listen to the later part. The dictatorship of the proletariat, of the working class, which is the majority of the humanity, which is about 99%. The dictatorship of the 99% means that there's no dictatorship. And they forget because they never got educated about what is society that they're living in right now. Literally, the bourgeois democracy, the democracy they're living in right now is the dictatorship of the bourgeoisie.
So, I think that we need to think about, all right, like it's true that when you talk about your audience, who you're talking to, you have to adjust your language, right? So, if you're talking to like workers for the very first time who are like, say in the USA, where they have no positive exposure to things like socialism and communism, right? You're talking to them for the very first time. You don't jump in with a bunch of jargon and say, hey, shouldn't we form a dictatorship of the proletariat so that we can build socialism so that we can then transition to communism? Like, no, you don't say that. I mean, that's obvious, right?
No?
You start with basic concepts and you start by building common ground. Yeah. But that doesn't mean you abandon this language and this culture that we've been building for centuries. We have a direct line of a project we've been building going back generations. You know, like we have, and some of the greatest figures in history, whether you know it or not, were communists, right? I mean, lots of people that the world looks up to, like Albert Einstein, were communists. So I think we just make that more. What we have to do is build our own culture, a counterculture, as Gramsci said, against bourgeois civil society. Normalize this terminology, but do it in a way that understands development. So yeah, so you don't start by saying like, "Hey, I'm a communist. You should be a communist too." For the first time when you're talking to a coworker who you've never had a conversation with, you start by saying, "Hey, are there things that you don't like about this job?" You know, I mean, there's ways to introduce these concepts and start building the concepts, scaffolding them over time. But that doesn't mean we turn our back on communism and socialism and pretend we're something we're not. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Do you agree?
Yes,
Does the chat agree?
Yeah. Americans are brainwashed to associate words like communist and socialist with the word evil. It is so the elite don't have to pay taxes.
But that's false consciousness.
It's false consciousness, yes.
Undoing false consciousness is our job, right? So like, yes, they're prejudiced against communism, but like being sneaky and using like sneaky words, like, oh, I'm not a communist. I'm a super duper. I'm a shareunist. I like sharing. I think we should all share. I don't know, whatever. Come up with some silly, sneaky words. You're just trying to trick people. You're being inauthentic instead of just boldly owning who we actually are. I think is a lot stronger. That's how I feel about it. And then maybe you do have to be kind of crypto about it for a while. Maybe you have to, like, in your community, not show your full hand. Maybe wherever you are, it's dangerous to admit you're a communist. But you can still work with people and slowly build contacts over time, build rapport with people, and then to the people that you start to build trust with, start to reveal your hand more and more over time. But that's just about understanding development. That's not really about changing who we are and and hiding who we are. I don't think we have to hide. Communists don't have to hide because the truth is on our side. So we don't have to hide in the shadows. We don't have to do what fascists do, which is pretend they're something they're not. Fascists love to pretend they're something they're not. Fascists love to pretend they're communists. Happens all the fucking time. Because they know, I think deep down as well as we do, that the truth is on our side. That's I just feel strongly about that.
Also in the US, think that socialism is when the government does stuff, and most people think communism is the same thing as fascism.
That's why it's so important for us to educate them, though. And plus, by the way, here's another thing to think about. This is the last thing I'll say, and I'll go. But I assume everybody's watching this channel because you have some degree of affinity for Vietnam and you care about the Vietnamese people. If you think that the best thing to do is to dissociate yourself from Vietnamese communists and dissociate yourself from the people of Vietnam and say, no, we're not like those nasty, dirty communists. We're not like them. We're something else. You're throwing them under the bus, and you're allowing the imperialist hegemony to say nasty shit about Vietnam that isn't true, right? So that you can try to build your own personal power and build your own little movement, and you're turning your back on the international communist movement. And I think that's really ratty. I think that's gross. Don't do that. Don't be like, oh, I'm not like those tanky, disgusting authoritarian communists in Vietnam. I mean, no, if you think that what Vietnam is doing is on the balance of things cool, then own that shit and stand in solidarity with your comrades in Vietnam. I mean, don't be a rat. I don't know. That's how I feel.
I would see the Vietnamese comrade like laugh at people who think Hitler was somewhere close to be a socialist.
Their whole thing is trying to steal our thunder.
That's exactly. That's the whole point of it. Thing. That kind of thought is just anti-communist. Yeah, I mean, it is.
Exactly. It's like when people... Sorry, it just annoys the shit out of me. You don't have to have adjectives for things like that. It's like, just say you're a communist.
Own it.
Just own it. Now, obviously, I say that with the caveat that don't put yourself in danger.
Don't do yourself in danger.
I already said all that, though, so you get what I'm saying.
Mm-hmm. All right, I'm checking the chat right now. Okay. Back to that's a point that I put aside before when I was busy talking about that talking point, but I want to mention too is about how to give and take criticism. And when you take criticism, do not take it personally as a personal attack. Now that is the thing that I think that lots of people in the West, especially from the USA, couldn't do it. Agree with me? Every attack against the greatness of the USA, they take it very personally as a personal attack. Now that is a very inaccurate way of dealing with criticism. And if you keep being like that, you can never improve yourself and you can never develop. Because again, a true story. I mean, you know exactly what I'm talking about because at least if you're from the USA, you must meet at least one of these people like in your life. So when I criticize the USA of like the capitalist rich owning massive amount of land while there's millions of homeless people over there in the USA, I criticize that you do not have affordable health care. I criticize that you do not have a good public transportation. I criticize that they do not have healthy, high quality food with like affordable price, like street food, like in Vietnam. They immediately, instead of, acknowledging my criticism, because it is a constructive criticism, it is true. And then this is something you need to acknowledge and you need to fix it. If you have want a better society, if you call yourself the greatest country on earth. But anyway, instead of acknowledging my criticism, acknowledge the problem that the USA has, they turn like defensive about it. They were offended and they became very defensive about it, and they consider it to be attacked onto something about their personal attack. Like, dude, calm down. I'm not criticizing you as a person. I don't say that anything against you. I just state the fact that the things that your country has that need to be improved. That is it. But then, yeah, it's American like exceptionalism, when like America is the greatest country on earth, everything America is great and awesome and perfect, and any attack against the USA is a personal attack, and that person needs to be defensive to attack back, because they cannot take any criticism. Like very fragile kind of mindset, like that cannot take any criticism. And yeah, it is opposite to the to the values that Vietnamese communists uphold, which is give criticism and take criticism and do not turn it into a personal attack. And acknowledge it. Acknowledge that you're not fucking perfect and you need to improve that. It's obvious. So yeah. Luna, what do you think about old Americans going to live in Vietnam? I mean, I don't care as long as they enjoy the life here, as long as they can benefit something from it, as long as they are not being sexist and racist and exploitative of Vietnamese people. That's it. I mean, do not go here to become a criminal in a sense, like, the sex offender. Or like, there are a lot of, criminals in the West coming to Vietnam to do horrible shit. Like, horrible shit I don't want to mention here because it's painful to think about it. Do not come here to be like that, to be racist against Vietnamese people, to be sexist against Vietnamese women, and to be an asshole to exploit Vietnamese people. As long as you don't be an asshole. I mean, you're welcome. We are welcoming people. We don't judge people, or we don't we not ethno state. So we do actually welcome people here as long as they're not an asshole. Ôi Phạm Mỹ, chị nói thật luôn với em là chị chán luôn ấy. Chị phát chán cực kỳ luôn ấy. Bất cứ với cái nào, chị ở Mỹ khoảng nửa năm đúng không? Thế xong có nhiều vấn đề mà chị nhìn ra được là nước Mỹ nó có ấy, mà sắp tương lai này chị sẽ làm một cái video về cái vấn đề đấy, những vấn đề mà nước Mỹ đang có hiện tại ấy. Mà chị nói rất là nhẹ nhàng, rất bình thường, kiểu ôi ví dụ như là yêu không có xe buýt các thứ nhờ, đi này chán quá. Ui xong bắt đầu là cái người mà chị nói chuyện cùng ấy bắt đầu là ngay lập tức là bắt đầu là bực mình, xong rồi nói chung là giận dỗi các thứ, xong kiểu với chứ ủa tâm chỉ nói mỗi cái việc là mày không có xe buýt để đi xa các thứ thôi mà bây giờ tao có làm cái gì đâu mày sợ thế. Nói chung là nó không thể nhận được bất cứ một cái khuyết điểm gì, nó bất cứ những cái vấn đề gì. Mình nói chung là người vô gia cư ở Mỹ rất là nhiều, mình thấy rõ ràng trước mắt mình luôn á. Mình nói vấn đề đấy bắt đầu thì cái người đây bắt đầu là quay trở lại là giải thích, xong rồi bắt đầu là như thế này như cái, nói chung là tìm cái cớ để mà nói chung là chán lắm. Nói chung là không biết nhận bất cứ một cái khuyết điểm gì luôn, mà mình cứ nói ra khuyết điểm gì là cảm giác như là mình đang tấn công cá nhân ấy. Chịu, không biết đường nào nói luôn. Yeah, just like talk a little bit to a Vietnamese comrade about how USians cannot take any criticism, and any criticism that I had, they took it very personally and it's in a very toxic way. I mean it's like they treat America, they treat the USA, they treat their country as something like religion that you have to follow and you have to love no matter what. Or one of the very famous saying of them is take it or leave it. A very kind of toxic way of loving your country. Like Vietnamese, we fucking love our nation. Yes, we love our people. Yes, we fought for it for generations. Of course, like we freaking love it. But it doesn't mean that we treat it as a religion that could never do anything wrong. We don't treat it as a way that we cannot take any criticism. No, we love it. And then we want to fix it. We love it, but we will not leave it. No. We love it. That is why we want to fix it, want to change it. A better version of us, a better society. I really do not like the way of saying like love it or leave it to a whole entire complicated concept as a whole country, a whole nation, because absolutely there's no country that's perfect. There are always going to be contradiction and problems. And the point is to acknowledge the thing that we have still bad and you fix it, improve it. I love it. I want to fix it.
Luna's being too nice. I don't want to fix the USA. I want to overthrow it.
Shit.
Dismantle it entirely.
Well, kudos to you.
Luna sounds a little bit like a lid right now.
Oh shit.
Just fix it, improve it.
Alright, okay.
I'm teasing.
Okay. Alright. You have a point. I'm currently receiving a hugely expensive medical treatment for 100% free thanks to the Commons and Labour Party. Here in Victoria, for example, the TAFE, like technical colleges, is free as is in nursing too. I mean, here's the thing, even in freaking Australia, the lapdog or the USA, they still have a better education and healthcare system than the USA. I don't get it, man. You don't even need to compare to other countries, just compare it to at least, as a shithole, Europe and UK is, or the Australia is, or Canada is, at least education and healthcare is still at least affordable. Come on.
What makes you say it? What do you mean, college?
College?
Some places in Europe it's affordable.
Some places it's affordable.
There's a lot of places where it's not.
I know, but still, they still have healthcare.
Yeah, I'll give them that.
Yeah, they exported that take it or leave it concept to Brazil. It was the main motto of the military dictatorship. Brazil, love it or leave it. See? Fascists always take it, use it as an excuse to force people to accept whatever kind of horrible shit that they impose on their own people. Oh, like the America that you do not have affordable healthcare, let alone free healthcare. Oh, take it or leave it. Like, no. Checking the chat right now. I mean, land back. One of the way that I think the most possible way, I mean, is freaking land back. You know, you're talking about rebuilding the USA. You people the land back. Give the indigenous people land back so we can all, live in harmony with nature at least. Because like the way that things are going on right now in the USA is so bad for nature. It is so freaking bad. You're wasting a bunch of land and you're facing food insecurity. You're wasting land and natural resources. You're poisoning your water. And then you have food insecurity. Have you ever studied the psychology of narcissists? I think it would explain a lot about the imperial and colonial mentality. EJ was the one who trained me a lot about this kind of mentality. You
make it sound like I'm a narcissist.
I know. No, he learned about it. He learned about it and he taught me about it. I'm sorry. The way I phrase it, I did it badly. Okay, he learned a lot about this. Yeah. I mean, it's interesting to learn about, and it did help me understand a lot of the mindset of American exceptionalism and why people are being that way, why people are being chauvinistic about.
I think that a lot of it has to do with alienation,
individualism, narcissism.
I think that we should be careful not to attribute systemic problems to individual psychology.
No.
So that's one thing I'd be careful about. But yeah, certainly there's a sort of social narcissism, which I think you could just call alienation and indoctrination into bourgeois civil society.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yep. That's my mom being very loud. She's talking to her customer. We are taught to think. I'm back. I just go gently ask my mom to speak a little bit quieter. Haha. No, the audio was fine. I muted myself because my mom was very loud and just tried to fix it. Yes. Curtain. No. Ow. All right, better. Geo. Hi everyone. Hi EJ's hand. Thank you so much for the super chat. Oh, I miss you too. I'm back. Love it or leave it. When my uncle was pulled away from his studies at CUNY to train to fight in Vietnam. What a white soldier said that to the black servicemen when they spoke about the racism back home. There you go. Capitalism is the basis of the health issues in the USA. Oh, can I talk a little about the Biden thing? And Biden, the new plan of getting...
I guess we'll talk about that on Breadcast next week.
Oh, okay.
I mean, that's a whole thing.
It's a teaser for our broadcast if you want to hear about it. So Biden just had a plan for workers, for mental health care in the USA. Loneliness. Yes, Biden and his loneliness plan. Let's check out our broadcast this week. We will talk about it. Biden's loneliness plan. Very funny.
Surgeon General.
Okay, you have any questions? We have about 15 minutes left. Open for questions right now.
What's the difference between proletarian piety and commandism? Or tailism, I mean, sorry.
Tailism. All right, so...
Like how is, because, what I worry is that people hear proletarian piety and they're going to become tailists. Do you understand that concern?
I understand that. And yes, again, I will explain tailism is kind of a thing when, we just go after the masses and just do whatever follow the masses and do whatever we think that the mass want us to do. So, for example, like the MAGA communists is tailist. Why are they tailist? This is why. MAGA communists, those what they call themselves communists, and they go after the MAGA Trump supporter, and because they are tailist, so they think that in order to gain the support from those MAGA people, they combine that's MAGA communism. Now that is tailist.
Because it's like you're following
the reactionary part
elements of the working class, like a tail.
Yes, like a tail. You act like a tail of the masses. You follow the most reactionary part of your society, which is the MAGA Trump supporters, and they combine that together. They call it MAGA communists. The point is to quote unquote radicalize the most reactionary part of society, which is foolish.
I wouldn't even say that. I'd say it's like you're not even trying to radicalize them. You're just trying to do what they want.
That's what they claim that they do, but actually no. Yeah, that's like what they claim to do. But yeah, they tail the far right, like the far right tail and tailist. They are tailist, and that kind of ideology called tailism, where you blindly follow the masses, follow the most reactionary part of the masses, with the wishful thinking that you somehow can turn them into communists. Like, no fucking way. You're turning yourself into a far right. You're turning yourself into fascist by doing that. Now that is tailism. What is a proletarian piety? Proletarian piety, it just means that you have to love, respect, listen to the masses, but at the same time, you need to lead the masses. Be alongside with the masses. All right? So the opposite ideology to tailism is commandism. Commandism means that you think that you are smarter, you know better than the masses, so you just stay out of the masses and you command and you impose what you think is the best for the masses into the masses without listening to the masses and learning the masses. Now that is commandism. The commanding, you just sit on your throne and command are able to follow what you think is the best, right? The opposite to tailism is commandism, but proletarian piety is we're trying to balance that. Yes, of course, we are proletariat. We come from the masses. And what we need to do is that we need to love the masses. We need to listen to the masses and obey the desire and the desire of the masses. But at the same time, we need to be like a friend, like We need to walk alongside with the masses and listen to them and to guide them, to educate them at the same time. From the masses back into the masses. We need to walk as a comrade with the people. That's what the Communist Party of Vietnam been trying to do from day one. We don't want to lead the masses. We don't want to follow the masses, and we walk alongside with the masses so we can, help them to steer them with the masses, steer the wrong way, and also at the same time we need to listen to the masses to know what they want. So to try to help.
It's a dialectic.
It's a dialectical relationship. The two sides walking alongside and listen to each other.
The working class have to have a dialectical relationship. I mean,
This is that, yeah.
Also, if you love the masses, you protect them from the fascist elements, and you protect them from. The other thing to think about is the fact that the capitalist class, especially in a hyper developed, and what I mean is like super capitalist country like the USA, bourgeois civil society is intentionally ingraining reactionary thoughts and ideologies and attitudes into the people. So part of our job is fighting against the capitalist class for, kind of a cultural position, which means building a counterculture, which is what Gramsci talks about. A counterculture that puts the working class first. The bourgeois civil society puts the capitalist class first. So they're going to try to divide the workers based on things like gender, race, sexuality, disability. They're going to try to divide along all these lines. That benefits the capitalist class a lot. Our job as communists is to fight against those attitudes and to build a counterculture that unites the working class and heals those divides.
It sounds a lot like the mass line from now, yes.
Yeah, mass line is very much a good social. It's a good way of thinking about this. You absolutely want to have mass lines. I think. I don't think you even have to just be I think it's just a good idea. Like you don't have to be a Maoist to think that that's a good idea.
What was May Day like in Vietnam this year?
We had to leave Hanoi because it was going to be such a huge...
Crowded. It was crowded. The Ho Chi Minh Mausoleum is packed. Mausoleum. Ho Chi Minh Mausoleum packed with people.
May Day is a massive holiday in Vietnam. It's huge.
It's nothing that you say. Your May Day is like May 5th?
We don't have May Day.
Oh, you don't even have May Day.
They have Labor Day. I have a whole video on it that you helped me make.
Yes, 3 minutes long. Yes. I forgot about that. Phạm Mỹ said that the more leftist channel I watch, the more YouTube recommend me right-wing channel. It hurts my eye.
Yes, this is true.
This is true.
This is absolutely documentable. So you have to be really careful. The algorithm will push you to the right. That's been established by many, many studies. So if you watch a lot of if you watch a bunch of what do you call
leftist channels?
Yeah, like if you try to break away from the algorithm, it's going to try to drag you back.
They would steal you back. They would try.
So you have to be really on guard. I say we need to be doing a lot more work to build our own algorithms with things like RSS. So you need to build like your own little algorithm. You can do that through RSS. There's an app called Feedly where you can set up your own stream like sources. Stuff like that's really, really important. And I don't know why we don't have more communists working in the tech industry doing stuff like that, like helping us build better platforms for controlling our own algorithms.
It is real.
May 1st is American Loyalty Day. That would be funny if that's true. Let me see.
We did May Day.
It is Monday, May 1st, 2023. No, no, it's true. It's fucking true, Juan. Hold on, wait, no.
Every single day I learn a painful fact about the USA.
Sick. This makes me feel sick. The holiday was first observed in 1921 during the first Red Scare. It was originally called Americanization Day It was intended to replace International Workers' Day. During the Second Red Scare, it was recognized by the U.S. Congress on April 27th, 1955, and made an official reoccurring holiday on July 18th, 1958. Dwight Eisenhower proclaimed the first observance of Loyalty Day. In 1958, Eisenhower urged Congress to move Child Health Day to the first Monday in October, so it wouldn't conflict with it.
Bill, as an American, I never heard of Loyalty Day until this year because it was so unpopular. But
it's a special day for the reaffirmation of loyalty to the United States and for the recognition of the heritage of American freedom.
What kind of freedom? That they literally massacre workers protested to have an 8 hours working day.
They don't want you thinking about that. That's the whole point. They're trying to distract you.
Workers protested to ask for an 8-hour work day on May 1st, and they were massacred.
Listen to this.
They were slaughtered.
They're inviting the people of the United States to observe Loyalty Day with appropriate ceremonies in schools and other suitable places. It's like a brainwashing day. Oh my God. See, they don't want you to be loyal to the working people. They don't want you to be loyal to your neighbors or your community. They want you to be loyal to the bourgeois state.
The bourgeois state, the bourgeois democracy, the bourgeois system that slaughtered workers who protested just to ask for an 8-hour working day.
Zhang Forli said, I feel bad for dropping that knowledge. I thought for sure that couldn't be true. Like, I don't know why I keep, just when I think my expectations can't be lower,
it gets lower.
They keep dropping. Incredible. Just incredible.
Brainwashing Day. Oh my God. Every day, our bar for the USA gets lower and lower.
Sucks.
Oh, again, can I talk a little bit about the Pledge of Allegiance? Okay, so can you believe it? Vietnamese comrade, I speak in Vietnamese. Bạn có biết là người Mỹ, tất cả mọi học sinh Mỹ vào tất cả các buổi sáng đi học, tất cả các buổi sáng nhé, đều phải thề trung thành với lá cờ Mỹ và thề trung thành với nước Mỹ. Cái này là một cái sự tẩy não mẹ kinh khủng khiếp luôn. Tại vì ở Việt Nam ấy, mình có chào cờ ấy, say hello to flag hay chào cờ ấy, thì mình cũng chỉ chào cờ mỗi sáng thứ Hai đầu tuần, nên là mình thấy quá đáng lắm rồi. Ở đây không nhé, tất cả mọi học sinh thề trung thành với lá cờ, cái lá cờ thôi nhá, thề trung thành với lá cờ và thề trung thành với nước Mỹ vào tất cả các buổi sáng mọi ngày đi học trong năm. It is a pledge of allegiance. I couldn't believe that a while ago I learned that every single student in the USA was asked to pledge the allegiance to the flag and to the nation. Pledge allegiance to the flag.
Yes. I'm sorry. I'm just saying people might not understand. Allegiance.
Mm-hmm. Pledge allegiance. Mm-hmm. To the flag and to the nation every single morning of all the years that they went to school.
I did.
Did you say it proudly?
I did when I was a brainwashed little kid, yeah.
Okay, I kind of understand, even in a brainwashing kind of concept, that you pledge allegiance to the nation. But why did you do that to the flag? The flag is just
because symbols are very
an
powerful.
Object.
Symbols are very powerful. That's why. And you create this physical symbol that people literally worship. It's, you worship the flag. And then if somebody denigrates the flag or they denigrate any symbol of the empire, then you're creating this emotional response in people that leads to, it's like a cult-like devotion. It's a cult.
There's a thing on Reddit that people just took pictures of very kind of torn out flag of America, and then people just got emotion about it.
Yeah. Americans have a very emotional attachment to the
Whenever
flag.
I saw that kind of flag, the torn out flag, it's just Man, it's time to change a new flag. That's my whole sincere thought. You need a new flag.
I mean, we venerate symbols too, and you know, communists have symbols that we think are venerated. You know, you would be pissed off if you saw somebody attacking a Vietnamese flag. But
yes,
I think there's a big difference. There's an essential difference on what those things represent.
Exactly.
I mean, for one thing, the USA flag, literally the 50 stars represent 50 pieces of stolen land from indigenous people. 13 stripes represent 13 colonies. The flag stands for...
You broke every single treaty that you had with them.
Yeah. And then, you know, so it's like...
stolen nation, indigenous nation, and stolen land. And then Hawaii's one star, right? Still being illegally occupied by USA against the treaty that they had with Hawaii originally. Guam still a colony, a territory. Puerto Rico still a territory. Yeah, against their own will. 13 slave colonies.
I think it's funny how in Vietnam you just say hello to the flag.
Yeah, that's all you do. I mean,
like once a week.
I was about to say talk about that too. Even like they call us, you know, brainwashed Vietnamese people. I mean, authoritarian state. But all we do was for a few minutes Monday morning, we'll chào cờ, say hello to the flag, salute the flag, and sing the national anthem. Done. And then we move on. We talk about the plans that the schools has this week and what we did last week. Done. Literally, this is what we did. Vietnamese people in the chat will confirm that for me. But so a teacher will be on the stage with the micro and say like, chào cờ, chào, like salute the flag, salute. And then we do like sing the national anthem. Done. That's it. And this is called authoritarian country, brainwash people, not freedom thinker. And then they call people who literally pledge the allegiance to the flag and to the nation every single morning and every single year in school, freedom thinker and free thinkers. God damn. All right.
Wrap it up, Luna.
Wrap it up. I have 2 minutes left. Yes, and Canada. You pledge allegiance to the Queen. Now we will be the king. It is written in the passport. Oh, and also anyone who asks for the Canadian citizenship, they have to do that too. Pledge allegiance to the Queen, and now will be the king. And that is the shit that people claim that North Korea do. Okay, whatever kind of belief or understanding or kind of prejudice you have against North Korea, there is no strong evidence whatsoever about North Korea, leaders ask their people to pledge allegiance to the leaders. No strong evidence whatsoever. I'm not talking about brainwashing media mainstream outlet. All right, I'm not talking about the BS articles coming from BBC, Radio Free Asia, BS articles that cite no source whatsoever, no evidence whatsoever. I'm talking about hard evidence of people pledge allegiance to North Korean leaders. But we know as a freaking fact that the UK citizens are being asked, millions of them are being asked to pledge allegiance to the king.
Loyalty.
The loyalty.
To the king.
Pledge loyalty to the king and all his heirs.
In accordance with the law.
In accordance to the laws, including Andrew. Mm-hmm. The literal pedophile. Right? And also at the same time, not just people in the UK, people in the colony, Canada, has to do the same thing. Pledge loyalty. Yeah, I mean, what a democracy we're living in.
All right, Luna.
All right. I'm very hungry right now. I'm extremely hungry right now. All right. I hope you have a good night. And I'm very hungry right now. I grabbed some food. It's 11 a.m. right now and I want to have lunch. Thank you so much, everybody, and solidarity. Bye, everybody. Thank you so much for the super chats and support coming from you. Correct.